What is up, Soccer Alert Nation? It's actually not your host. Today, it's going to be me, Neymar for President, or Zach, filling in just for one day. And I'm going to be going over transfer deadline day. So this was a huge day. But before I get into it, before I get right into the news, I would like to talk about some of the past deals that have happened this summer. So obviously the huge ones being Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Manchester United from PSG, along with Paul Pogba from Juventus to PSG. Along with Paul Pogba from Juventus to Manchester United. That was a record-breaking signing of over £90 million. A huge transfer in the transfer window. And some other things that happened towards the beginning of the summer, right before the actual summer happened. Hummels, the Dortmund center-back, went to Bayern. He returned home to Bayern. We saw Granit Xhaka go to Arsenal, and he's been playing quite well for them so far. But as the transfer window moved on, we saw Götze return back to Dortmund. Dani Alves moved from Barcelona to Juventus. That was huge. Pjanic moved from Roma to Juventus as well. Now that was another huge move. I think Juventus made out very well over the transfer window, maybe one of the best teams after Manchester United. As we move towards the end of the transfer window, closer to transfer deadline day, we saw Arsenal do a double signing with Lucas Perez from Espanyol and Mustafi from Valencia. So two players for Arsenal on the same day. That was quite interesting. Now we saw Mkhitaryan move to Manchester United, and we also saw Gundogan move from Dortmund to Manchester City. In fact, Dortmund lost a lot of players. They lost Mkhitaryan, they lost Hummels, Gundogan. It looked like they were going to lose Aubameyang, but they managed to hold on to him. So without further ado, let's get right into the transfer deadline day news. Now, the transfer window opened, and this transfer window was quite interesting. And on the deadline day, over $1 billion was spent in transfers. The entire transfer window itself for the summer was huge. Before I get into transfer deadline day, I would like to say the sources I'm using are Sky Sports News, Goal, and Deadline Day Live. You can see their links on screen right now. The first big one we had, David Luiz, for 3 years, returned back to Chelsea. Chelsea actually made money off of this because they sold him to PSG for more than they just brought him back for. And another interesting thing is, so many people came back to their old clubs. Götze came back to Dortmund. David Luiz came back to Chelsea. Hummels came back to Bayern. Morata came back to Real Madrid. And as we continue through the transfer deadline day, Sissoko gets, quote-unquote, Willian, as he was looking to be signed by Everton for quite a while, and then Tottenham, right at the end, just take them from Everton. And Sissoko moves to Tottenham for $30 million for 5-year deal. Jack Wilshere went from Arsenal to Bournemouth for 1 season. Now this was definitely something that I think he could do really well for Bournemouth. He doesn't get much playing time at Arsenal, and I think he's a really star midfielder that has a lot to improve on too. I think he'll do really well at Bournemouth. Slimani went from Sporting Lisbon, possibly one of their best players, maybe if not their best player, to Leicester. Now this confuses me as they already have Vardy. He's clearly a star striker, but I guess they wanted another striker for as a good pairing. Enner Valencia goes from West Ham to Everton for 1 season. And speaking of West Ham, Arbeloa went to West Ham for just 1 year. I think he could definitely do well there. They do need a right back. Balotelli, just out of nowhere, got up, left Liverpool, went to OGC Nice for free. He left. It's not a loan. He just got Joselu went from Stoke to Deportivo for 1 season. Cuadrado, for another 3-year loan, went from Chelsea back to Juventus. I mean, it makes sense. He probably wasn't going to get much playing time at Juventus over Willian, who was probably their best player. Nkudu went from Marseille to Tottenham for just $11 million. He's a really good striker for them. I think he was one of their best players. Quite an interesting deal. We'll have to see if he gets any playing. Niam went from Watford to West Brom for just $3 million, which surprised me, as he's actually quite a good outside back. I think he had a lot of potential too, and he's very good. I think it's weird for him to leave for just $3 million for 4 years. As mentioned a few videos ago, there was the goalkeeper switch. Joe Hart went to Torino for 1 season, as we saw a replacement come in as Bravo went to City. And then we saw Cillessen come to Barcelona, and then we saw Krul come to Ajax. Now Nasri left Manchester City to go to Sevilla for 1 season. Manchester City also kicked out Boni, who decided to go to Stoke for 1 season. And Luis Alberto left Liverpool to go to Lazio for $6 million. Liverpool basically didn't sign anyone, but they did lose a few players. Imler left Leicester to go to Besiktas for 3 years. This is odd as he was instrumental to Leicester's winning the league. And then finally, Nigel de Jong went from LA Galaxy to Galatasaray. So that's about it. That's what happened on transfer deadline day. I think Barcelona made out well. I think United made out well. Juventus did very well. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you later.